Who is the best Game Week 11 captain? Let's discuss it. I'm just going to plonk myself in front of Haaland because this isn't the first time he's gone missing in the last 5 weeks, and no, I'm definitely not salty about it. And if you are looking for this picture without my Oakley mug on it, I will detail my Twitter here where you can just save the picture from there. I'll start off with my number one choice, which is Mo Salah, and it's also Fantasy Football Hub's number one choice. No surprises there. Some of his key stats I really want to highlight is his percentage of goal involvement for Liverpool and his expected goal involvement for Liverpool. You'll see that he clearly outscores his expected data. Now, that could be for one of two reasons. He's either incredibly lucky, which we know is not the case, he is Mr. Consistent, or he's an exceptional finisher, or he creates such good chances in such unexpected moments, which is also true for Salah. So that's fantastic news for owners, effectively meaning that even with low percentage chances, he's going to create plenty of goal-scoring opportunities, which is exactly what you want. Furthermore, on Salah, as you'd expect, his XG, shots in the box per 90 and big chances per 90 are all very good, which is obviously great news. The only thing that I would highlight, which is quite surprising, is his actual expected assist data is really quite low, considering he's playing a lot wider for slot and seems to be putting a lot more balls into the box, etc. It's actually quite low. So that is something to consider, that it seems that Salah does seem to get his fair share of goals and assists, even if the data suggests that really he should be only goals heavy. But overall, I think Salah going up against Aston Villa on the 8 o'clock Saturday kickoff is a great fixture for him. Even though the data suggests that Villa defensively are quite good in the top half in terms of defences, their form recently has been very poor. They just lost 1-0 in midweek and obviously got a bit of hammering from Spurs. I think this could be a great week for Salah. Moving on to a man who was a key benefactor of that battering of Villa, Dom Solanke. Now, I personally feel that was a vendetta against me because I literally spent all of last week bad-mouthing Solanke to anyone who owned him, sort of just saying he basically plays as a defensive midfielder, just get him gone. And boy, was I wrong. Ange slightly changed his position and it's done a world of good for him. You just can't argue it, I guess. Tottenham have the best attack in terms of data in the league, and he is their number 9. He pretty much will play 90. We're unsure if he's on penalties. I don't think he will be. But, after that whole last week, if you own him, it's hard not to captain him. I just think the reason that I've gone Salah is just consistently. If you are a brave fantasy football manager, then I have no issue with you going for him, really. Not only that, Ipswich are the worst defence. So it really could be a match made in heaven. Obviously, his underlying data isn't going to be as good as Salah, Haaland, because he's only performed basically this 1 week. So tread lightly is what I would say. All I would say as well is obviously that his expected assist data is quite low as well, so you are relying on the goals, which you would assume will come. If Tottenham do end up scoring 3, 4, 5, based on last week, you would expect Solanke to be involved in 2 or 3 of them, which is precisely what you want, and you could be looking at another double-digit haul. Moving on to the Norwegian fraud himself. Now, I'm going to be extremely biased here. I have transferred him out this week, so I'm really not that keen on him. But obviously his underlying stats, I don't need to tell you, his underlying stats are phenomenal. It just seems like he's hit a really, really bad phase. Along with that, City aren't playing well either. Obviously they got a bit of a thumping from Sporting midweek, lost to Bournemouth at the weekend. And Brighton are a decent side. Yes, Palmer did get a 25-point haul against them, but that isn't an every week experience for Brighton. They're not getting battered left, right and centre. And he's also at the Amex as well. I just don't trust him at the minute. He could quite easily go out and bang a hat-trick against Brighton, but if he blanked again, I just wouldn't be shocked. But that's football in its entirety, basically. I would still rank him third because it is still Erling Haaland. He is still a robot, but tread carefully with him. Next up is my favourite fancy asset at the minute. It is Cunha. If you are a brave, and I mean a brave, fancy manager and you don't own Solanke, he could be a fantastic shout. Southampton are the second worst team defensively according to expected data, and Cunha's data is pretty good considering their fixtures. Now, I'm not a Wolves sympathiser, but their fixtures have been horrendous. And as I say, considering the data, it's not too bad. If they do manage to put 2-3 past Southampton, especially since Gary Neal is feeling a bit of the pressure, you'd expect Cunha to be involved in quite a few of them. Although the expected team data suggests that he's only been involved in 35% of the goals, he is key to Wolves. He is effectively their creative outlet, but also can be on the end of those chances as well. So he could be a good shout. It is just one where you do have to tread carefully. I feel like I'm saying that a lot about basically anyone except Salah, but that is the whole game. And last up, we've got Heung-min Son. The main reason I've got him last is just because of his expected minutes. He's been carrying an injury and we just don't know how long he's going to get. I would estimate 70 to 75 minutes depending on the game state. Realistically, if the game's out of sight, he's unlikely to stay till the end. But that doesn't mean he can't haul. You would have seen against West Ham where they won 4-1. He was exceptional. Although West Ham did play into Spurs' hands on the counter-attack, he was exceptional. And Son is just an unreal finisher. Whilst his underlying data isn't exceptional, he is just such a good finisher that he only needs one chance and he'll take it. But it's just the fact that he does only really get one big chance a game, which is a bit of a concern. So if you do own Son, but none of the others, then it's an okay captaincy. It is still a risk. But considering his min's risk, I just rather the other options personally myself. So this is my formal Game Week 11 captaincy ranking. A special shout out to Bruno Fernandes. I will likely be bringing him in this week for their fantastic next three fixtures, but I'm certainly not brave enough at the minute to put the captaincy armband on him. But what do you think? What's your top 5 captaincy choices? And do you have any disagreements with mine?